Howdy YouTube, Mike Howell here for Naps, New Age Pipe Smokers. Hope y'all are doing well today. It's Friday, so I'm fucking fantastic. The only time better than lunchtime on a Friday is 4 o'clock on a Friday, because that's when I get to go home. Smoking some Old Kentucky. It's Wessex Friday, but I had my Wessex for breakfast. It's a Bold Kentucky kind of lunch. God, I love this stuff. So, I wanted to talk to you guys today about tongue bite. Last night in the we had a Naps group smoke video chat, Siemens Mantle, Rizzo's Fireside. You know, pick your title. And I think it was Kevin Cass who said he showed my my bad pipe smoking habits video to a friend of his who had just started pipe smoking. And in that video, I said that I tended to smoke really fast, and no matter what I was smoking, I tended to smoke pretty fast, and that I got the best flavor that way. But that wasn't always the case, and that the advice you usually got was to slow down. Apparently, he took that as like me telling him, "Oh man, go ahead and shoot your pipe, buddy. Fucking rolling clouds, and you'll be fine." I guess I wasn't quite clear enough. It made me think that I should make this video and talk about tongue bite, like what it is and what causes it and what you can do to prevent it. So tongue bite is when, through whatever means, there's a couple different ways, and we'll get to that. But tongue bite is when, through whatever means, you burn with your pipe smoking the inside of your mouth, your tongue, and the tissues of your mouth. It can last for anywhere from a few minutes to, like, if it's really bad, it can last for days or even longer. It's painful and it sucks. There's two real ways to get tongue bite. The first is through heat, and the second is through chemical interactions between your body and the smoke of that particular tobacco. Through heat, the way it happens through heat is either through smoking your pipe too fast and too hot, letting the bowl get too hot, letting the ember get too big and nuclear, and where the cherry encompasses too much area. It makes the smoke much hotter, and the smoke itself burns the tissues inside your mouth. Or it can happen if you're smoking tobacco that is very wet, and especially if you're smoking tobacco that's very wet and you're puffing away trying to keep it lit so it gets too hot, it produces steam because the moisture is released from inside the tobacco when it burns. So then you're inhaling a bunch of steam along with the smoke, and steam will scald human tissue more easily even than smoke will. Either way, the result is the same, an actual burn on the inside of your mouth and your tongue, and it's really unpleasant. The second way that you can get tongue bite is through chemical interactions between your body and the tobacco that you're smoking. This happens to Mac Baren is a good example. I'm smoking Mac Baren right now, the Bold Kentucky, the HH series. And the HH series is an exception because it doesn't use any real casing. But there is something in the casing of Mac Baren. I think someone said that they use prune juice in their to case their Cavendish or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that area, but there's something in their casing that, for me particular, reacts very badly with the chemistry in my mouth. It's when this happens, it's an imbalance between the pH and the alkalinity in your mouth and the tobacco. And the second I even charring light, it's not temperature or anything. As soon as I light it and the smoke hits my mouth, it's instant burning. And that happens to a fair amount of people. It's just something that doesn't agree with a lot of people's body chemistry, but other people absolutely love it. And sadly, there's no real way to tell what if a tobacco is going to do that to you or not without smoking it. But once you smoke it and you give it a fair try and you know that that's what happens, that's what happens. Now, these things are pretty unpleasant, so how do we prevent that from happening? Unfortunately, with chemical tongue bite, there's not really much you can do except for not smoke blends that do that to you. There are occasions that it's something that things that you eat or things that you drink can change the pH in your mouth. Or is it the alkalinity? I don't fucking remember. One or the other. But things that you eat and drink can change the chemical balances in your body, even things like how you're feeling that day. So give it a fair shot. If there's a tobacco you really want to try smoking bowls of it at different times of the day, after eating or not after eating, after having different beverages, things like that. But other than that, most of the time there's not much you can do if a certain blend does that to you. That's just life. Luckily, there's hundreds and hundreds of other blends out there to try. Now, when it comes to temperature tongue bite, there's lots of things you can do to mediate that. The number one, absolute number one, is smoke slower. You don't have to be afraid to relight your pipe if it goes out, and relighting your pipe is very much preferable to just sitting there and trying to keep it going if your tobacco is too wet, because or even if it's just not wanting to burn right. That just increases the temperature without increasing the actual area of the ember, and you just end up with a bunch of hot smoke. It doesn't taste good and it burns your mouth. So make sure to keep a slow cadence, and make sure that your tobacco is dry. Those are definitely the top tips. This is definitely a do as I say and not as I do sort of thing, because I tend to smoke super fast. And I think I didn't say this, I don't think, in my last video when I talked about that in the bad pipe smoking habits video, but I think my throat and lungs and mouth tissues have basically been like turned to rawhide from years of bong hits and nitrous and other illicit activities. Inhaling paint at work, spraying all day, drywall dust. I mean, they've been toughened and abused through a lot of years. So the things that I can smoke pretty hot and it doesn't really bother me, but that's not the case for most people, and you shouldn't take my pace or anything that I say about what I do as something that you should do or the advice you should give to anyone else. So yeah, cadence is the number one thing. Keep your pace slow and make sure your tobacco is dry is the big number two. Not too dry, because if it's too dry, it'll burn like kindling. But make sure it's dry enough. Another thing is, what blend are you smoking? Aromatics and Virginias both have high sugar content, either from the casing in the case of aromatics, or because of the natural tobacco sugars in the case of Virginias. And tobaccos with high sugar burn hot. Now, tobaccos with lower sugars, such as Oriental Leaf, Burley's, and Latakia, they tend to hold up better under a slightly faster cadence, and you can smoke them a little faster without getting tongue bite as badly. It can still happen, but it's not nearly as bad. So if you want to be able to smoke a little faster and you like those big clouds of smoke and you know that extra flavor that a lot of smoke gives, try a Burley blend, or an English blend is a really good option. If you like the taste of Latakia, go for an English blend. Those are usually the most forgiving blends in terms of tongue bite. I know a lot of people say that beginners should start with an aromatic. I really don't agree with that. They smell good, and the people around you definitely will appreciate it. But as far as taste and the overall experience goes, I think that aromatics are best left for a little down the road when you learn a good technique. You'll appreciate them more then, and it won't discourage you. I think that Burleys and Englishes are a better place to start, especially if you really want that, those big clouds and everything like that, if that's what you're after. Another thing to consider is what pipe are you using. A thinner walled pipe will get hot faster, and the more heat is that your pipe can absorb, the better. So a thicker walled pipe will usually result in a cooler smoke, to my experience. As you can see, I'm smoking this Savinelli 320, and it's chunky. And that's one of the reasons I like chunky pipes, not necessarily for the tongue bite issue, but also because they don't get as hot in my hand if I happen to be smoking really fast. And if you have a thin-walled pipe, this is what I got up here, something like this, it's much smaller. It's not really thin. This is a little $3 thing I got from RNA Treasures that I leave in my car. But that could get hotter a lot faster. You can see the difference in the size of the walls of the bowl. Something like that will get hot faster, and some pipes have even thinner walls, and those will get hot even faster. If the pipe gets hot and it can't take more heat, your smoke's going to be hotter too. Now, I don't personally use filters because I find they take away a little bit from the taste for me, but a lot of people do and have great success with them. So if tongue bite is a really persistent issue for you, try using a 9mm filter. Good filters, not the paper Dr. Grabo, filters, but a good filter like a charcoal filter or something. Like I said, I don't personally use them, but a lot of people I've talked to use them, and some people say they absolutely changed their entire, pipe smoking life and made them enjoy it so much better. So yeah, I guess that's about all I got to say about tongue bite. Other than I'm glad I don't usually get it, except from the few blends that disagree with me. I hope you all have a great Friday and a fantastic weekend. And thanks for watching our channel. And always remember, the universe might piss down the back of your neck every single day, but it'll only drown you once. So keep your chin up. Later, guys.